I'm going to talk about the jet wash job first, and then I'll talk about my book. That way, if you're into the gardening stuff, at least you get that first. I quoted a job yesterday. Now, I said to the customer, I said, look, the way I'm going to quote it is ignore the total. Just look at the prices and just, choose what you want, because it was basically a jet wash, and it is really, really bad. These pavers. I mean, they're not just green, they are completely green, supposed to be white, and with a lot of black on them. So I know it's going to be a tough job to get those clean. So I gave her a lot of options. I said you can either use sodium hypochlorite, which is like a really strong bleach, and I said if you do, you probably need about 20 litres worth. It's a big job. I also said that you could also use afterwards, if you want to maintain it, maybe a few months down the line, a biocide just to keep on. This is a gave her, and it's all within the quote, so it all totals it up. And then I obviously put the labour down, the actual jet wash, and as I say, there's a lot there. There was about 1, 2, 3, 4, so 4 sort of average size patio areas. With a path table, a wrought iron table to do, and chairs, a 6-seater table. So I added, so it was £4.50 for the jet washing, and then I added another 60 quid for the table. So it comes to about 510. Now I did say to her it's going to be roughly about 500 quid. Now the thing is, I have to charge that now. I mean, the reality is I might even have to charge more, because fuel's skyrocketing. Fuel is going up so much. So I gave her those options. Now I know what's happened. She's looked at the total and it comes to nearly 700 quid. It's because I said to her, ignore the total. That's just all your options as well. You don't have to have those. It's just, I'm giving you the options that you can say whether or not it's worthwhile having that done, because it is bad. And I just tried to explain to her on the estimate, I always call them estimates. I did try and explain to her that there is a chance that a jet wash on its own might not be able to remove it. I know a chap, he's got a very, very powerful jet wash. He does truck washing for a living, and some of his pavers just would not lift the black. And when I'm talking like really, really powerful jet washes here, and it still wouldn't lift up the black. He was absolutely amazed when I used the sodium hypochlorite. He thought, bloody hell. So, from experience, you just know that there's certain things that just won't shift. It doesn't matter how powerful your jet wash is, if it's really bad, it just won't shift. You have to, unfortunately, use a chemical. So I gave her all those options, and she just sent me an email saying it's too expensive. And I think she's just looked at the overall price. I did try and explain to her that it's not, just because the problem is that people don't read. They just don't read. They look at it, oh, for fuck's sake. You know what I mean? 670 quid. I'm not paying that much. And the reality is, I reckon by the time I got to have done this job, that's how much it would have to cost, because of the bloody rise in fuel. It's doubling in price. It's ridiculous. So, I mean, the reality is, I do a job. I've been doing this job for years. Just maintaining the lawns, and they have their driveway and their patio jet washed. And this is probably, the driveway is probably about the same size as the driveway that this lady has, but the patio is probably, well, one of these patios with a path. And okay, their path on the job I choose is going to be one path leading to all the different parts of the patios, whereas obviously the one that this lady has, she just has one path leading to one patio. So ignore the path, it's the same size, but the patio is probably about, you're probably looking at about 4 of these patios. And this lady that has this done, she has it done by a professional jet wash. And I say a professional because, this is just a sideline for me. So she has it done, and it costs her just over 500 quid plus sand. Quid for something like that. And they're only doing one equivalent patio, where if I've got 4, So I think even the 700 quid is about right price then. So no, that's not 2.5, that's not 2 meters, you stupid bint. So you know, I mean, I could give them a number to a company that does jet washing that I know of, and I know they'll charge about 6, maybe even 700 quid just for labour. So it's frustrating when you get that. You know, you just think, well, how much did you think it was going to be? I mean, he even told her yesterday when she asked, he said, you're probably looking at about 500 quid. And she goes, oh, okay. So, you know, yeah, it comes to 600, but that's just for materials. But they don't read, and it's up to them. So, I did say I highly recommend you getting a sodium hypochlorite though, because, you know, yes, I can clean it all off, but it won't be spotless, it won't be perfect. Whereas the sodium hypochlorite should, in theory, make it perfect. I mean, I've got one that's coming up soon, and I'll probably charge them about £100. I can't remember how much I charged it before, and it's just a biocide spray. And I say 100 quid. I went on Amazon to look at the MMC Pro. I paid £35 for 5 litres last time. Yeah, it's gone right up to about, I think it says about 50 quid. I did find a website that sold it at 35, but 50 quid, it's like ridiculous. Look up, mate, look up, go on. Cheese and spice. You see, this is a problem with this bloody right of way thing. The pedestrians ain't got a, I mean, he looks like he's a guy who would be driving, so he should know. The car behind me, I'm surprised he didn't go or even try, because I've done that. You've got a junction where there's two lanes onto the roundabout, and they've overtook me, and I'm thinking, there's a car coming. Can you not just see that I'm letting somebody cross? And then they've bipped the horn at the pedestrian, and I'm thinking, you fucking moron. Anyway, that's enough of me moaning. So, my book. It is really evolved. Sam, I'm very sorry. I know you're sort of listening to it, but unfortunately, it's having a major workaround. The beginning of the new chapter 1 is going to be the prologue, because I'm learning a lot about how to structure a book. Because the thing is, I'm just writing stuff that comes to my head, and it's not really structured. And it was originally just a stupid bloke, a sad lonely old man who gets superpowers and can do all this and that and the other, has a companion, and they go off and save the world. That was it, you know. And if you're a friend of mine on Facebook, read the thing on Facebook that I posted, and it's like really poignant. And the thing is, it's like I've got, Sam, you might not want to listen to this because there might be some spoilers. I will eventually release the book. I might just not close the channel down. I might talk about the process of me writing the book, and the reason is because I'm finding it so interesting. I did join a Facebook group. Oh, stupid mistake. It's like toxicity is just everywhere. You know, I'll say, right, okay, I don't really read many books, I'm sorry, but I'm trying to get my head around this. Does this sound feasible? And the amount of it wasn't just negative comments, it was like, oh, for fuck's sake, get me out of here. I'm thinking, well, that's not helping me. What the fuck's that got to do with anything? At least say what your gripe is. So, you know, I'm leaving the group because I can't be doing with people. There's just something wrong with people. There really is. So I'm leaving the group, and I might keep the channel open and just talk about the process. I mean, look at that. It's like, why not just wait and then go in? I just despair sometimes. Well, the book has evolved. Now, as I say, Sam, if you want to eventually read the book and have a whatever, then what I'll do, when I've finished part 1, you can read it and then see what you think, because part 1 kind of closes. There's 2 parts of the story. Oh yeah, it was just a little story just to show, you know, this silly idea that I had, and it's really, really evolved. And the character meets this woman on a bridge, and it was just a random person on a bridge, and all it is to show that he's the kind of person who wants to save people. That's all. Originally, the person on the bridge was a bloke or a young lad, you know, just wanting to kill himself, and he saves his life. But the more I thought about it, and the more it went round my head, it sort of evolved into this girl, and it becomes this guy's love interest. Yeah, I know. And that was the part that I thought, this could come across a little bit creepy. But the thing is, it's like, when I asked about it, they go, "Oh, get me out of here," and all this. And I was thinking, for fuck's sake, it's a story. It's just, it wasn't supposed to be like that, and it all taken out of context. You just take it for what it is. Can you not just look at what it actually is? What I'm asking, is it feasible? Is it not? And some people said, well, it depends on the context it's written. But yes, it is feasible as long as you set it up properly and everything. And I said, well, yeah, I have, but it's like the comments like, "Oh, get me out of here," and "Oh, for fuck's sake, God, this is just stupid." No, oh, no, that won't happen in real life. And I'm thinking, yeah, I know it won't happen in real life, because people are fucking nasty bastards. They're just fucking evil. Oh, shut up, Reese. So I have to filter everything out that I say, and this channel is no longer to be fucking filtered. But honestly, I really struggle to be around people. I really do, and I have all my life. And the thing is, talking to a customer yesterday, it's basically, it's all relative. Because she was basically moaning about a dog, and I said, well, it could be worse. You know, you could have your thumping music when you get back from work. You do a hard day, and then you got thump, 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 and kids screaming and banging till about God knows whatever time at night time. She goes, well, yeah, I guess. So it's, you know, I won't complain about my dog. And I said, yeah, the thing is, it's all relative. I said, I've got a customer who complains about money, and he's a fucking millionaire. And I said, but the thing is, I think of it like this: I haven't got the kind of bills he's got. And yeah, okay, if he loses his house, he's still going to end up in a house bigger than mine and better than mine. But look at what he's actually lost. It's all relative. I mean, it's like a tramp. He could go from one cardboard box to an even worse cardboard box. It's all relative. And, you know, so my book is basically about a multiverse and stuff like that. And that I created. Oh, this is why I'm writing the book. I got that idea about a multiverse when I watched Back to the Future 2, because he explained about alternate timelines, and I sat there and I was thinking, well, that won't work. How can that work? It makes no sense. And then I had a conversation with someone. I can't remember what these particles are, but this conversation, and they do exist. I think they're neutrinos. I'm not 100% sure. I'm not going to say what they are, but there are these theoretical particles that float around in space, and they split, and they are basically energy. They split and it forms an atom, or an actual physical particle, and then they annihilate each other. So basically these particles pop into existence and then out of existence. And this guy said, what happens if there's a black hole? One half goes into the black hole and the other one carries on. It won't annihilate each other. It could be antimatter and matter, I don't know. But anyway, what happens if that happens? If it's by a black hole, one part gets sucked into the black hole, and then the other part just carries on. Then you've got something out of nothing. And he said, what happens if there's enough of these particles? And then all of a sudden you've got a piano. And I had to think about what he was talking about at first. What? But it made sense. If you've got enough particles, you can create anything with these particles, and that's what we are made of, particles. So, you know, you could have a piano just suddenly appear, pop into existence. And he said, if you take it larger, what happens if we've only just popped into existence before yesterday, or before now, or before just? Nothing existed. We literally just popped into existence. Everything exactly how it is. And so it got me thinking about parallel universes and stuff like that, you know. And then you had, I think the first one I know of that did parallel universes is Voyager, which is after I had this idea. I mean, Back to the Future was years old, so I had sort of like idea like that, and I thought it was a silly idea, a really ridiculous idea. So, you know, and I was early 20s, so I couldn't write a book to save my life, so I never bothered. And unfortunately, a lot of my ideas have already come into fruition because somebody else has thought of it. A liquid metal person. Well, it wasn't liquid metal, it's a shapeshifter. I got the idea from The Thing, basically. I thought, what happens if you got something that's a good thing, or not even what do you call it, not even flesh, it's more sort of not flesh, not organic, not inorganic, just something completely and utterly alien. And this was even before then that I actually thought I had this idea. And then the Terminator 2 come out, and it had like the liquid metal man, and for fuck's sake. But it wasn't quite what I had in mind, because this thing can manipulate other objects. And then you had, if it took, let's just say for the sake of argument, this entity can touch a lamppost and turn it into something else, because it can manipulate the subatomic particles within the lamppost. Yeah, this is the kind of book I'm writing, and can do all that kind of thing. And the thing is, then you had the Terminator. We couldn't do that, but it was still a shapeshifter, but it was a shiny liquid metal. But the worst one of all, so far, I'm glad I'm saying this thing that it can manipulate other things, because it's basically how it spreads. It can digest other things, and like The Thing, it can digest other things and manipulate them and turn them into something else. So nothing has done that yet. As I say, remember, it's neither organic or inorganic, so it can do either. You know, a tree, a lamppost, a dog, a person, anything. I'm thinking The Thing, the musical. But yeah, the Terminator come out, and it sort of had a similar idea, but not quite the same. And I thought, oh, okay. And then Voyager come out, and it did the Demon Planet. Is it Voyager? Yeah, I think it's Voyager, the Demon Planet, and that was fucking annoying. Because at first it was a person they did, and I thought, oh, that's a Terminator thing, that's all right. It still hasn't got to my point where it's neither organic or inorganic. And then a later episode, yeah, it did it, didn't it? Still didn't manipulate. As I say, they don't actually manipulate other objects within their realm. But yeah, fucking shape-shifting to anything, organic or inorganic. How fucking annoying is that? The closest thing is the replicators in Stargate Atlantis, where again they could be organic or inorganic, and but they can't manipulate other objects, but they can go into the mind of people and sort of like read their minds and alter their thoughts. Yeah, it sounds stupid on paper, but if you're a sci-fi buff, it's really cool. Anyway, so I was creating all this stuff, and some of the stuff had come into fruition. It's very annoying. So I wanted to write it down, and I have tried several times to write a story. But the thing is, you can't just write, all I could do was write a synopsis. A sad, lonely, well, we had Sad, Lonely Old Man. The original was, I was, probably about 12 when I first started thinking about this character. So let's just say the actual character fleshed out when I was in my early 20s, because I was into wolves and stuff like that, and it kind of made sense for me to have that kind of character. Once you read the book, you'll understand. Anyway, so let's say, so he's a 20-year-old. He's a bit of a dweeb, a bit of a recluse, no friends, not to speak of anyway, bad parents, all that kind of stuff. And he ends up with these powers. Who knows how he got them? Because I didn't actually have an idea of how he got them. You know, my original idea, which I'm going to include in the book, as I say, Sam, don't listen, which I'm going to include in the book, is he goes back in time when he's older and gives himself the powers. I thought it was fucking brilliant. It's a bootstrap paradox. But where does he originally get them from? Well, if you read this, if it's still there, is it chapter 3? Chapter 2. Chapter 2, The Dream. There you go. That's the origin story I come up with. So anyway, I'm writing this book. And the thing is, I don't know how to structure a book. I don't know how to write a book, and I'm just writing stuff down, getting chapters down, and all this lot. And then I'm slowly realising, you know, you've got to do it. The chapters are the breaks. You know, you can't just say, oh, a few months down the line and all this lot, because that's another chapter, and that's how it should be. It should be another chapter of the book. So that's how I'm going to structure it. At the beginning of the redo of chapter 1, there's a scene in that where the guy's on a cliff, and I added that in the original story. And the reason was, it was supposed to be like a hook to think, what the fuck was this all about? And then in chapter 2, it explains what that was all about. Well, chapter 2 is now chapter 3, or could even be chapter 4, because I need to structure it a little bit better. So the beginning of the beginning of the rewrite of chapter 1 will be a prologue. I think that's the right term. So it's just going to be it's not going to be part of that chapter. And then the chapter about the bridge is going to be chapter 1. That's, you know, basically it. And for YouTube, I did cliffhangers because I thought it was a really good idea to do a cliffhanger. But I don't think I'm going to do that. I've never known a book to do cliffhangers, so I'm just going to write it as it is. You know, not as a cliffhanger, but just as it is. So it's going to be completely and utterly structured. Now, chapter 2 and 3, I'm literally swapping, because chapter 3 is all about this girl's backstory, and this is where things get really, really massively rewrite, because when I wrote the backstory, I literally wrote it as a backstory. I got a car, and honestly, they can literally be sat right up my arse. I don't know why people have to drive so close. And they're doing it again. I've left a gap so I could speed up, and they're now back up my arse again. What is wrong? Honestly, I have a few people. If you drive like that, you're a fucking arsehole. Honestly, you need to back off. You're not getting anywhere faster. It's like a fucking virus, honestly. It really is. Because oh blimey, somebody's done some fly tipping. See, this annoys me as well when you see fly tipping, because you know that you've gone to a garden and he says, right, it's going to be this much, but I'm going to have to charge you £80 plus our time to get rid of the waste. Because obviously, if it takes a couple of hours to get rid of the waste, I've got to charge them for a couple of hours worth of work, plus the charge of tipping it, and they go, oh, that's expensive. And then goes for somebody else to say, oh yeah, we'll do it for free. Why? Because we'll fucking dump it on the way home. And that's the annoying part. That really is the annoying part. So anyway, the book has really, really evolved. And when I was writing this story about the woman he meets on the bridge, she starts right from the beginning of her life story. And you wouldn't do that if somebody was in, really depressed and wanted to kill themselves, and they eventually opened up and talked about why they ended up at the bridge. Get them there, and it'd be all in bits and pieces as as I could even do that as a separate chapter. Oh, where are you going? Look at this. Is he pulling over? I don't know what he's doing. See, the boss picks up the kids, so I don't know whether he was pulling over or not. Oh, now what's he doing? Oh, for fuck's sake. I don't think he knows what he's doing. So yeah, I've got to really rewrite it. Do I do it as a backstory? If I do it as a backstory, that'll be a chapter in itself. Or do I do it as a conversation? See, I like the idea of backstories, but I think maybe a conversation would be better. You know, and add some more emotion to it. So that chapter will be getting rewritten, but because it's her story and she's just like been not rescued, but sort of persuaded to come off this bridge, then it needs to be chapter 2 rather than chapter 3. Why go to chapter 2, which is all about the main character? You know, it should be about her story, not his. So I'm changing that. And yeah, it's a learning curve. It really is. It's amazing, really. And the biggest thing is, it's a bit easier to talk about this. I used to use this character as a way of dealing with all the shit that goes on in my life. I am a negative person, and the thing is, I have to have something to sort of like help me out, and that's basically what it's done. But I'm too old. I'm too old to think about stuff like that. I'm too old to have a love interest that's like really young. I'm too old to be able to, oh, for fuck's sake. Too old to be able to. It sort of rekindled the idea I can. But this person, obviously, before it was me, but now it's this person that I'm imagining, and it's rekindled it, and it's a fucking nutcase. But yeah, in the book, because if you